So just a little bit about me. I am procurement and supply chain professional with expertise in governance, strategic partner relationships, continuous improvement, mergers and acquisition, talent and resource management, consultant with, I've done consultations on quality control and improvement, career-related advices, job-related improvements, educational advancements, performance improvements. And then I'm also a chemist. I have studied medicinal and forensic chemistry with emphasis on abnormal psychology, criminology, and pharmacokinetics. I am a trainer also with trainings done on leadership and team management, category management, level 4 all modules for SIPs, continuous improvement and ethical procurement and supply. And if I have to say 2 words about me and what I do and what I am, I will say I'm a growth hacker. So you will be asking me about what is a growth hacker and what do you do as a growth hacker. I will get into more detail about what is growth hacking, and I'm sure all of you will be more interested in becoming growth hackers once I explain what exactly that is. So that was a little bit about me. I'll be talking about the future of works and jobs in the upcoming markets. So my question here to everyone, I don't know if I can pull out the polling facilities, but my 2 questions to everyone. Are we investing our time and energies in being ready for the future? And my second question is, observing the trends of shifts in the requirements for candidates, have we thought of doing something else to stay in the market and not being redundant? If anyone wants to speak, you can, and share your viewpoints on these questions. Like, how much have we invested our time and energies for the future? And what are we doing not to be redundant?
Ishwar, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Shafaq, thank you, firstly. I think coming into this kind of platform itself is an investment to look into the, the vulnerabilities of today's, today's situation, and looking forward, these kind of platforms where, you network and then you leverage your this thing. So this gives you more spectrum to look into the current conditions and also prepare you for your future challenges. I think this synergy and this kind of initiatives to keep yourself updated with what's happening in and around the environment will prepare for the coming challenges. So yes, I think this is the best investment what one can do to prepare one's to retain yourself and to survive in this industry. Today's survival is important, and yeah, you need to upskill yourself to keep yourself with the changes. So this is my opinion.
I can add to that also, Shafaq. I think many people are not ready to hear the word redundant or terminated. I think that's the fear factor which is there in their mind, and people should be ready for hearing this word during these tough times. I think people should invest in themselves rather than thinking that we are safe all the time and nobody is going to terminate us and stuff like that. I think for me, I am investing at least 20 to 30% of my time daily to invest on myself. I'm investing on it. Yes, for me, yes.
Just to
Very
add
well
on,
said.
Jason, just to add on that, what I would say is, we can't tell something is redundant, but what I would say is, you're redefining with some add-ons, like, the because of the other enhancements, what it is taking place. So it's just getting redefined. See, any which case, even if it goes 100% automation, robotics, or AI, or ML, or whatever it comes, human intervention is always required. So the kind of skill sets we need to upgrade ourselves so that we are in line with. So I would rather say that this is a transition point, and we have to redefine or be prepared for those new skill sets, and embrace those new skill sets, learn and fine tune those so that we retain our positions.
So I would say yes, we are seeing the things that are coming, but we are not actually preparing ourselves for those times. So let's get into what um the future holds for us. There are 5 ways jobs will change. In many respects, the future of work is already here. Considering the headlines that explain the predicted loss of jobs due to automation and other changes brought by artificial intelligence, machine learning, and autonomous systems, it's clear that we have work and life is transforming. This evolution, it could be nerve-wracking, but we need to think about it. We know the change is inevitable. Let's see what these 5 areas, the 5 areas, I would say at least 60% of the activities that are associated with the majority of occupations worldwide are and and could be automated, which includes even knowledge tasks that were previously thought to be safe, as per the McKinsey report, and where the executives see and say, they say the workforce is changing massively. Fluid gigs within an organization, positions will be more fluid, and a strict organizational chart will likely to be tossed in favor of more project-based teams. This is especially appealing to Generation Z employees, since 75% of the Generation Z employees would be interested in having multiple roles in one place of employment. The gig economy will continue to expand, where professionals sign on as contractors or freelancers and then move on to the next gig. Decentralized workforces. Well, I would say thanks to our mobile technology and the technology that we're using these days, we are readily available on social media, and then we have access to internet all the time. So we are moving more towards remote working. Employees won't need to be in the same location. They will be, it will make it easier for the next generation workers to choose to live anywhere rather than find a job and then move to a city with that job. Motivation to work. People will need something more than a paycheck as a motivation to work. Many will want to have something from an organization that has a mission and a purpose that they could believe in. They will also want different incentives, such as personal development opportunities, trainings, and workshops, latest tech gadgets to facilitate their work from anywhere ambitions, and many more. So we have softwares that are there where we can just go anywhere, use VPN, and work from anywhere. Lifelong learning. Not only will employees want to learn throughout their career, but they will also need to learn new skills, which are ongoing skills, not those skills that you learn once and then maybe forget about it. So ongoing learning will be very, very important. Technology will continue to evolve the role humans play in workforce. So everyone will be required to adapt their skills throughout their working lives. Technology will augment humans' jobs. That means artificial intelligence, algorithms, and intelligent machines will be co-workers to humans. The human workforce will need to develop a level of comfort and acceptance for how man and machine can collaborate using the best that both bring to the workforce. According to World Economic Forum, there are 7 emerging professional clusters. And those clusters are data and AI, engineering and cloud computing, people and culture, product development, sales, market and content, care economy, and green economy. So data and AI, which is data analytics and artificial intelligence, engineering and cloud computing, where you will be engineering new softwares or engineering new products. Cloud computing, nothing to be on premise. So it has to be, everything has to be cloud. So wherever you go, you can take it with you. People and culture. So people and culture, more like investing in people, their creativity. Culture, there are different cultures that still need to be explored. So people who are investing in different cultures, they will be on a very good side. Product development, that could be from a software development to any other product development that is also an innovation of something. So innovating new ideas. Sales, marketing, and content. You will need a lot of people who need to sell your product, who need to market your product. And then your content writers who will bring the best out of your product. Care economy. As per the current times, I think everyone will agree with this that the care economy, especially doctors, nurses, and the people who are in pharmacy, but not too much, but mostly those people who are frontline people like doctors and nurses. Huge demand of doctors and nurses under the care economy. Green economy, people who are investing in renewable resources like wind turbine technicians or solar panels technicians or water, those dams, rotation service technicians. Those are part of green economy. According to World Economic Forum, they shared this report like 3 weeks ago. And they have mentioned these clusters that they will be very, 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 very good in investing for next 5 years. Oh, I skipped one slide. Generation Z. So what was Generation B, X, Y, and Z? And why it's important to understand, because Generation Z will have certain traits that I can already see if I look at one of my cousins who was born in 2010, literally in 2010. I can see like how he reacts to most of the things. I can see what is he looking for. So For Generation Z, mobility and multiple realities, social networks, digital natives, unidentified ID, that means they would not want to associate themselves with one thing. Communaholic, that means they have their own identity, they believe in their own identity, and then they believe in their own styles, but they also let other people live with their own styles also. They are dialoguers, realistics rather than idealist, and then they have their consumption is mostly on uniqueness, unlimited opportunities, and being ethical. Uniqueness in terms of they don't want to stick to one thing, so they want to rotate and move around with multiple options. So that's the comparison between 4 generations. And I'm sure most of us, we fall under either Generation X or Generation Y. So Generation X, they were more materialistic, competitive, and individualistic. They wanted to consume more on status brands and cars and luxury items or articles. Generation Y, millennials, they believed in globalization, economic stability, emergence of internet. That was one of the main areas where things started to change. According to the World Economic Forum, the main what they found out was 37% of the opportunities will be in artificial intelligence economy, 16% in data and AI, 10% in product development, 17% in sales, marketing, and content, 12% in engineering and cloud computing, and 8% in the people and culture, where green professions, they still remain low, but they will be the future. 133 million new jobs will be created by the end of 2022, but 75 million jobs are likely to be eliminated. Those are those jobs that even a computer can do. So those jobs, 75 million jobs, are likely to be eliminated. The jobs of the future are set to grow by 51% in the horizon up to 2020, and we project they will present 6.1 million job opportunities globally, which is for 2020 only. So these are the figures that were extrapolated from data from 20 economies, and they took their data from LinkedIn, Coursera, Burning Gas. So I hope you can see this data and the numbers. And then one interesting factor, 470,000 new businesses are and will be enrolled. So why not become an entrepreneur and start your own business rather than working for different organizations and not saving enough for yourself. The roles with the highest rate of growth within high volume jobs. High volume jobs, that means most of the companies will be hiring for these kind of jobs, which will be artificial intelligence specialist, medical transcriptionist, customer service specialist, full stack engineers, and data scientists. These are the high volume jobs. And then the highest rate of growth within a lower volume job, that means these jobs will be there, but will have a highest rate growth within themselves. And these are green marketers, growth hackers, system technicians, social media assistant, wind turbine service technicians, landfill biogas technicians. So now
Shafaq, can you please unmute? You're on mute now. Yes.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as I was explaining about what exactly are growth hackers and what will be their role and what will they do. So growth hackers are basically those individuals or group of individuals who specifically work on increasing the growth of any business or any individual. So there is a continuous improvement in everything. And growth hackers, they have a specific industry or specific area or expertise, I would say, where they focus on. And why I said I am a growth hacker, because when I'm doing my consultations, I don't work on consultations that are widespread and they cater with like majority of the things, but I take out those areas that needs improvement, that needs where you can increase the numbers, where you can see growth. So if you can choose one industry, one specific area, and have a continuous improvement model developed, yes, you can become a growth hacker. The skills, the highest demand skills in the emerging professional clusters, those will be business skills, specialized industry skills, general and soft skills, tech baseline skills, and tech disruptive skills. So anyone who has good communication skills and they can engage with people, they can talk to people, they can bring in more ideas. Those are the business skills. Specialized industry skills. Specialized industry skills could be in procurement, in supply chain, or in IT, or in other renewable resources. So the specialized areas that could be anywhere and multiple industries. There are multiple industries, but then you need to subcategorize yourself to make sure that you are looking forward to one area, focus more, engage more, improve uh, the the sites, improve the skills, improve the process and the flows, and then if you want to move to another industry and another skills area. General and soft skills. So along with communication skills, you need to have other skills also where you can combine those soft skills and have a good communication with others. So let's say you are very good in communicating. You can communicate with others very well. Maybe you can write very well. You can write very good emails. You can write very good articles. Maybe you can write very good processes or guidelines. But when you're talking to someone, you don't have those right words, or you don't have the right expression along with your words. So it goes in a waste. So combining your communication skills with your soft skills, that is what is in will be in high demand. Tech disruptive skills. So 3 areas under tech disruptive skills that are and will be very, very important are design thinking. So if you can have a design and you can think more on designing and redesigning and rethinking on the designs, that is one of the main skills for tech disruptive skills. Innovation. What innovation can you bring in? What can you do? So many people, they fail to understand the term innovation itself. So innovation, some people say it's reinventing the wheel in a different way. Something that exists already, and then you're innovating in the right direction, or you're changing it in a direction where it will be good and helpful for others. And then resilience. Resilience, it's one of the main areas of tech disruptive skills. Resilience means you need to adapt to new changes easily. You should be willing to adapt to changes. So if you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to be flexible, if you're not willing to accept and adapt to the change, then you're not resilient. So yesterday, if we were using Nokia 3310 and now we are using iPhone 10 and 10 Pro or iPhone 11, that means we've changed. We did not resist that change. We accepted it, and now everyone's using smartphones. Even our grandparents, even they are not using Nokia 3310 anymore. So they're using smartphones now because that is the need of current times, and that will be the need in future times also, after this pandemic is over, after we move into uh, more more areas. Millennials and the workforce. Currently, yes, these people are tech savvy. They share mentality, they thrive on community, and they work on being an entrepreneur. So are we ready to be part of the future? And how to prepare for the future? Even though we can't predict all the changes that will occur in the future, we do have a fair amount of certainty that there are some things people can do to prepare for it. Rather than wait for the predictions to come true that robots will take all over the jobs, a more optimistic outlook is one where humans get the opportunity to do work that demands their creativity, imagination, social and emotional intelligence, and passion. Individuals will need to act and engage in lifelong learning so they are adaptable when the changes happen. The lifespan of for any given skill set, it's shrinking. So it will be imperative for individuals to continue to invest in acquiring new skills. The shift to lifelong learning needs to happen now because the changes are already happening. In addition, employees will need to shape their own career path. Those days are gone when a career trajectory was outlined in a company where you are hired as a, sorry. So yes, those days they're gone when you were hired as as an assistant manager or an officer, and then you would move up the ladder to being a manager and then senior manager and then becoming head of department or something like that. So therefore, employees, they should pursue a diverse set of work experiences and take the initiative to shape their own career paths. Individuals will need to step into the opportunity that pursuing your passion provides rather than shrink back to what had resulted in success in the past. This shift in work opens the possibility to achieve more of our potential. We need to begin to think of work as more than a paycheck. Employers need to think differently about how they recruit and hire new employees. Companies need to review a prospective employee potential and assess skills that are less likely to be automated anytime soon, including emotional intelligence, critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving skills. Another way employers will need to adjust operations is to create a structure and culture that honors lifelong learning and that celebrates creativity. It's time for employers to assess their another way employers will need to adjust operations would be to create a structure and culture that honors lifelong learning and that celebrates creativity. It's time for employers to assess their benefits and incentive programs to ensure they are providing the motivation the next generation of employees will want in order to attract the best talent. While nothing is certain, it's important for every human to begin taking steps in the direction to prepare for a future where where machines become colleagues. If we don't begin to adapt to the changes today, it will be challenging to catch up later. That's all for today, and I'm open to hearing thoughts and open for the discussion.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Shafaq. It was a fantastic webinar. The floor is open for discussion. Sushma, would you like to brief?
Yes, Shafaq, the insights you brought in today into the room were amazing. It's very inevitable for personal growth and from employers' perspective as well. This pandemic has brought everyone to a new platform for new view, to review their benefits, to review their skills from employees, and the employer has to see other part. So the insights were really great. The examples you gave, like how we adapted from Nokia 3310 to iPhone. So it is inevitable for each and every individual to adapt to all the circumstances, whatever comes in on the way. So yes, I personally loved it, and I think it is every one of us who needs to be very open-minded and open to receive, to learn, so that we don't stay behind. We need to be abrupt with the market, the skills. So yes, the floor is open now. Anyone has any questions, any doubts, any queries? Shafaq is here. Now, before anyone else starts, Shafaq, I have a question here.
Yes.
First of all, you have very diverse profile.
Thank you.
It's really great to see, like, supply chain professional, then chemist, and then growth hacker. It's really great. So I feel you're abrupting yourself with the future, which is really great. Now, as an individual, if I have to look at various options, or where do I divert? What are the key factors to look at, or what are the key areas I can look at, or and be it any other individual? What do you suggest? How to go about it?
So the key areas that you would want to focus on, like from your skills perspective or from your career perspective or from just being an individual who is looking to have a change. So I need to understand your question in more detail, like what area of focus that you want to look at.
Okay, so currently, if we are talking about the topic as jobs or workplace, so I would ask you to put light in that area then.
Maybe in skills level. Skills level.
So from a skills level, I would say the first priority is to be yourself and be more creative. So if I'll give you an example. Let's say you are a housewife, just for an example, and every day you have to cook something. So every day maybe you're cooking rice, the next day you're cooking curry, and then the following day you're making something else, and then on the fourth day you're making rice again, and then the fifth day you're making curry again. So in that terms, even being an housewife, so looking at your everyday routine, why not on the fourth day when you have to make rice, why don't you cook something else? Maybe even if you're cooking rice, but cook rice differently that day. So if you made biryani on the first day and on fourth day you're making biryani again, that means you're repeating yourself what you did on your first day. So on your fourth day, instead of making a biryani, just make Chinese rice or make something else. So that is where you are bringing your creativity in. So that's my first take on this, that your skills on creativity, they need to be very polished. So even if you're going for an interview, you're going for a job, you're going to present yourself, or even if you're going out to sell something. So whatever way you sold something yesterday, change it for the next day. Bring in change in yourself first. Bring in that creativity that I would say everyone has. Each of us, we are creative in one way or the other. Identify your creative areas, work on those, and then move on with getting a job or getting into an interview or engaging with professionals.
Yes, thank you, Shafaq, for throwing the light on my question. That was great. Next question is from Hamza. Hamza, you are unmuted. You must have received the prompt.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi,
Yes.
Shafaq. Thank you. It was a nice presentation. Just wanted to ask that if a experienced professional working in like 8 to 10 years having experience and then gaining these skills, how difficult it would be to enhance these skills which you have just told. Because once a person has already gained some skills, it takes time, and so how much difficult it would be to attain these skills.
I would say it's not difficult at all to learn new skills. Every day we are learning something new. So I would ask you one question on your question. My question to you is, um, 5 years ago, did you know how to uh, be on LinkedIn and work on LinkedIn and engage on LinkedIn or even on WhatsApp? So did you had a fair idea like how to engage with people through WhatsApp, through LinkedIn, through Facebook?
It came gradually. It wasn't like this change that has just come with due to COVID. Like everyone has gone digitalized and everything. Although that time we had we went over a period of time. WhatsApp is coming, Viber is coming, LinkedIn is developing. So we had a little bit of time.
So again, so you've answered your question yourself. So there is a gradual change to everything, and then few of these skills, they are learned and acquired over a period of time. For me, I say learning never stops, learning never ends. It stays with you, it continues with you, and it goes on until the last minute or last moment. So until last year December, we knew about webinars, we knew about um like online discussion forums, and we knew about online conferences, but we never engaged ourselves in webinars, or we never sat in front of the laptops to literally sit there and listen to people worldwide. I mean, I was doing it. I've been doing it for past, I would say, 7, 8 years that I've been listening to webinars from the great leaders throughout the world. But now, under these situations, everyone, literally, people who didn't even um, were using webinars, or they didn't even know about webinars earlier, they are using this platform. So they've learned this skill. So how long did it take to learn them these skills? Maybe just 6 months, not even 6 months. So we started using webinars in March, April. So just 3 months, 4 months, that's the time that it took to adapt to a new lifestyle, to a new situation that we are in. So the learning, it doesn't stop. It doesn't take a huge amount of time, but there is one more thing that matters a lot if you are willing to do so. If you're willing to invest your time in learning new items and new areas. So if you're not willing to learn, if you're not willing to grow, then I would say no one can push you to grow. So these skills, the acquired skills, they can be learned anytime, and they could be learned within a day, or within few weeks, or within few months. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Hamza is replying. Thank you for the detailed answer. Appreciate. Okay. Takyuddin, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yeah,
And
okay. Thank you
Takyuddin is,
for.
I'm happy to see you here. He's a 5 a.m. club member as well.
Yeah, we are really
Okay.
honored to have Takyuddin. We are really honored to have Takyuddin.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Just came. What's happening here? I surprised to see. It is a nice one.
He
Actually,
came
I
to
was
audit
late.
us. He came to audit us.
No, not audit. Actually, I was on duty, so I just came now. Okay.
Thank you for
Thank you
joining,
for a great
Takyuddin.
session. Thank you for the great session. It was a nice, informative one, and thank you, Shafakat, for giving a great insight on the future careers and scopes. So my question was on that point, that green marketers and growth hackers. You can say something about that, or from your experience, or uh, on the scope, please. Thank you.
Okay, so green marketers are those people who involve themselves in sustainability or in such processes that are greener. So if anyone is working, like currently these days, we've heard that many people are investing in solar panels. So green marketers are also part of those people who market in a sustainable way, who market for renewable resources, or those people who do not use a lot of paper or a lot of those materials, but they use online digital platforms. So those are green marketers. And then moving on to growth hackers. Growth hackers are basically those individuals or group of people who focus on increasing the numbers, who focus on increasing the numbers in the right direction and having a continuous improvement plan in place, which is like, uh, I'll give you an example of what I did and what I have done. So I was asked to consult for one of the organizations, and they wanted to have continuous improvement plan implemented, which they were failing to implement because of their employee engagements in various areas where they could not take their employees from their work routines and take their time and invest in continuous improvement. So what I did and what my group of people did, we went to that company, we looked at all the processes, we looked at all the timelines, and then the deadlines that were there. And our focus was to shorten the times and have a continuous improvement plan in place for that organization, which even if we are not there, if I'm not there, the improvement plan that we put in place will keep on going. So growth hackers, basically they work on certain strategies where even if you're not there, your work defines and it redefines and it goes in a circle, so it doesn't stop. That's what growth hacking is. Did you understand the difference and the growth hacking part?
Yes, yes, I got it. Yeah, it's a good one. So we have a lot of opportunity for this, I think, because
Yes.
everyone need more numbers to increase numbers, the active, and all those.
Yes. So to increase numbers and to have a continuous improvement plan.
Yes, yes. In your absence also, like that. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Ishwar wants to ask a question or say something. Ishwar, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Shafaq, firstly, it's a excellent this thing. What made me more interesting was on the paycheck part, you said, we should no more rely on paycheck, and you need to look into some kind of, consulting, or to get into some kind of partnerships, or, where you won't be dependent on your regular income, or that is one. And the other thing was on the motivation front, keep yourselves updating with whatever is happening, have a continuous learning program, whether as a leader or even motivate your team. If you are managing a team, the members of the team to learn and encourage, and probably to bring into this kind of platform, we can have more number of people so that they are prepared for the future, especially when you look into that ABCD, B, X, Y, Z kind of a scenario. Yeah, definitely. I mean, all said and done, yeah, one has to accept the change and adapt to the changes and equip oneself to the emerging needs, I would say.
Yeah. So it's very important to keep on learning, to keep on changing. So I'll give you another insight of my life where I was presented with certain opportunities where it was only and only project based. So at that time of my life, I was a bit reluctant, but I was a bit hesitant to choose that. But then I went for it. I took a risk and I took a project based assignment which was supposed to be completed in certain time, in certain time frame. So I took that chance. I took the project. I completed it, delivered in time, and then the project was over. moved on, and that gave me a thrill. That gave me that I would say that adrenaline wave in through me. So I was like, okay, this was very interesting. Project based, I did something, I delivered, and it was done. So let's look into another project. Let's look into a different project, do that, complete that, and then move on to another one. So I did that. And that's when I found out that this is the future that is very near, where freelancers will be there, where a lot of consultants, they will pick projects and then they'll move on, which is also, which I explained, fluid gigs. So I pick one gig, I pick one economy, do that, move on to another. And then I give another person a chance to work on a similar nature of project or maybe a different project in that organization, and then move on. So rotation of different organizations and rotation to different organization, I think it's giving me flexibility, and also it's also giving me that leverage of picking and choosing.
I mean, the way how you concluded the entire presentation with the palm with the colorful thing is what is more, you know, it's showing that, you know, the future is full of colors.
It is. It is if we take things rightly and if we go in the right direction, then I am certain that our future will be very colorful.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes, that was really great, both of you. Daniel, you are unmuted.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello to everyone. I'm really having a hard time with the technology today. I didn't know how to raise my hand, but also when I was told that I'm unmuting you next, adrenaline, my heart started pumping fast. I don't know how Shafaq is handling it over that side. But
Daniel,
yes,
by the way, how are you?
I'm okay. Now I don't know. I'm still struggling. I'm thinking of calling ambulance, but let me try and see if I can handle. But thank you very much, Shafaq, for the wonderful deliberations on this subject. I just wanted to bring out my mind and the questions that I'm having in my head. Well, this is both to individuals at individual level and also at business level. As we are, as you have mentioned, the skills of the future and how we should think of transiting. I don't know how well, because in history of learning, one of the hardest things is unlearning. So if we are to learn new skills, we should think of how we are going to unlearn these new skills. Personally, I'm still thinking about how to do that. And okay, well, we can all unlearn, but how fast we are able to unlearn and relearn and consolidate what we have learned is what is the question here. Of course, this will come with being open-minded. But on the side of the employers, after someone has unlearned and learned new skills, on the side of the employers, there has to be some change on how we look at employees, how we assess employees, how we look at how they're working. My idea is just that if employers could make work so simple, if they could make the metrics so simple, if they could make assessment so simple, because with a freelancer, if a freelancer comes, he has his skills, he has his knowledge, and he knows what he's going to do. The moment the work metrics or the metrics of assessment become so hard, they will move on. Just like you said, you had mentioned earlier that it's a gig economy. So someone will simply look for this gig, look for the other gig, and he has a number of other gigs also pending on the line. On the issue of the future of employment, you had mentioned something about the tech surveys and then having investments. I want to say, and maybe also it can be as a question, the issue of collaboration. I think it was Mr. Eshwar who had also mentioned it. Yes, collaboration. When I think there is going to be very many mergers and acquisitions by the giants in whichever industry is going to be, but also I think there is also going to be a sprout of very many young businesses coming up, which will feed the bigger businesses. So I don't know how this will happen or how they will survive, but I want you to give a little bit of brief on the issue of collaboration. Do you think this will be workable? Do you think it will make some? Do you think it will oil the business processes? Thank you.
Thank you there, Daniel, for great insights. I'll go one by one on the points and issues and questions that you've talked on. So first thing, you talked about learning and relearning, and
Unlearning.
then and unlearning.
Mm.
So unlearning for me, I would give you one small, it's not exactly a quotation, but more like a fact. So if you have an habit of doing something, if you remove an H, a bit remains. If you remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it still remains. So yes, there may be certain points where you will not be able to unlearn those previous skills that you've already learned, because it will still remain within you.
Oh.
So I'll give you one more example here. Maybe when you're working on your own, you still go back and you say, I think that Nokia 3310 was better. Why? Because it doesn't consume a lot of data. It doesn't like give me a lot of hassles. And then whenever I want to like call or do something, I just make a call, which is my focus. So sometimes you would just go back and say, I feel that 3310 was much better than the iPhone. That's a different story. But yes, unlearning the previous learned skills, it may take some time, it may never leave you, but then also when you did also mention that it comes to the mindset, it comes to your personal perception, and it comes to your personal individual take on what you need to do. And if you want to move ahead with the market, or you want to be proactive and even move faster than the market. So that's purely your choice, where you would want to take things now, move faster than the market, make yourself that you are available to do whatever will be required in the future. That is purely your personal choice, if you want to make a change now, or you want to wait for the time to come and then the change will be forcefully implemented on you. Just the same way it happened in COVID-19 situation, where we were not using webinars earlier, but during this time we are literally compelled to be on this online platform. That's the first two parts. The other part of where you talked about mergers and acquisitions, and the bigger fishes or the bigger giants, they will be acquiring the smaller ones. The collaborative efforts and collaborative events where people may not be willing to collaborate with individuals, or even with the smaller companies or the groups itself, right? That was the second part.
Yeah.
For collaborations, whenever collaborations happen, whenever people are looking towards collaboration, or even if they're not looking at having collaboration, or they're not even wanting to collaborate, that's where innovation comes into place. So if you're offering to a company or to a group of individuals or to another individual who is is not willing to collaborate, but you're offering something that is already in the market, or you're offering something that that person or that company has already seen many times, they will be reluctant to collaborate with any of the people or any of the organizations or any of the companies. The collaboration or the companies, they are looking towards something that is more interesting, something that is more innovative, something that is different from what others are offering. I see a lot of plenty of consultants in the market who are going to the companies and they're calling themselves as consultant. But are they offering something different what other consultants are not offering? If they're offering something that is different, people and companies will be interested to get in touch with you. They will be interested to collaborate with you.
I just wanted to know or understand more. Like for example, if there are lots of mergers and acquisitions taking place, I wanted to understand whether it would be worthwhile to have more of collaborations as a way of survival. For example, like you had mentioned earlier, that one of the ways of survival in the future will be having businesses than more of business than more of employment.
Yes.
Do I take that for an answer?
Okay. So having more businesses, same. I would reiterate my point where having more businesses and being an entrepreneur, what additional value addition you're giving along with others, what they're saying. So for the collaboration,
Yeah. Yes, I'm listening in.
oops, sorry, actually I accidentally muted myself.
Okay, it's fine.
Yes. So I was saying collaborations, people and companies, they are willing to collaborate when you offer them something that is new.
Yeah.
I did say something while it got muted, but
I think you were speaking about collaboration.
yes, I was talking
Yeah.
about collaboration.
The bigger giants eating the smaller giants.
Yeah.
So when the bigger giants, when they're eating the smaller giants, so so what they're doing is and then when the part comes of investing and investing in a business and becoming an entrepreneur. So when you think of becoming an entrepreneur, so you have to do your research in the market. Like, okay, let's say if you want to work with a company, if you want to work with certain corporate client, you need to look at their needs first. You need to look at their requirements first. It may become a little bit harder for smaller companies with the same ideology to come into the market. So if they can offer something that is new and it's more creative, going back to my earlier slides there, where I mentioned that creativity is one of the key aspects that you need, and the need to have that self-driven motivation and that innovation to do things differently, and that thinking style to do things differently will give you a platform to have your own business and run your own business. So I'll give you an example. let's say in the market right now, earlier until December 2019, there were maybe, for example, maybe 20 or 30 suppliers in the market who were supplying masks, sanitizers, and gloves. But then, as the need came into the market for more masks, more sanitizers,
Everyone is running to the
every
business.
company, and every individual is selling masks now. But
Are you selling?
no, I'm not selling. I don't want to be part of that same.
Okay.
So I want it to be different. I want it to be like behave differently in this current market.
I think Shafaq wants to manufacture it. That's why, not sell it directly.
No, I don't want to
If
manufacture.
she's going to
That would
manufacture
be...
them, then we can collaborate.
Yeah, so if I'm going for manufacturing, I think many people will want to collaborate with me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was still listening in. You were submitting.
So at this point in time, yes, people, they went on moving from selling gift items to selling masks. So they captured the need of the market, but will that need be there after maybe 4 months or 5 months? Will there be a need for more masks? Will there be a need for gloves or those PPE items after this pandemic is over? There will be no need, like the same need won't be there. So what they'll do in that time frame, they'll probably move on to a different product. So my example here, it is two ways. The first way is they rapidly, or they adapted to the change very easily and very frequently, that from gift items they moved on to selling masks. And then they did provide their mask on time, delivery was on time. They made sure that they stay in the market. Many suppliers, they could not. They highlighted either they had customs issues, or they had some other issues, or something or the other thing. But those people who made sure that they cater to the needs of the companies and organizations, they flourished. They are flourishing. But as the pandemic gets over, the requirement will change, the demand will change. So they will change according to the need. So that's
Okay.
another way. With all of these smaller companies, they were not bigger companies. They were not some of those manufacturing companies that started selling masks. Those people, all of these suppliers, they were smaller businesses. And bigger companies, very bigger companies, they were willing to collaborate with them. So my point here is, if you're willing to adapt to the change, and you're willing to be flexible, and you're willing to leave that conventional thinking style behind, that is where your skills will fall in future. Where even collaborations, acquisitions, mergers, pandemics, outbreaks, nothing will matter if you are willing to change and adapt to the flexibility. If you're not willing to change, if you're not willing to uh, adapt to the new normal, there is no way.
Okay, please. Thank you very much. I think
Thank you.
we
Yeah.
shall have more discussion on the group.
Yes, sure. We will have the second session with Shafaq only, with being the speaker. Thanks a lot for joining, everybody, all the 13, 15 contestants, participants. Thanks a lot. Sushma, would you wrap up the session, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So Shafaq and the attendees, whoever has asked the questions, the session has made it, the questions had made it more interesting. And thank you for your patience and answers, Shafaq. I think we don't see any more questions, any more hands raised. So Once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you, Shafaq, for the wonderful insights and for your answers. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Let's be mindful of time as well. It has been 1.5 hours. Yeah.
If anybody wants to see the telecasted version or recorded version, it's on my Facebook page. I will be sharing my YouTube on the YouTube channel also as well. If anybody wants a recorded version of this video, do contact me. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Thank you, Shafaq. Thank you so much.